Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
What's up, Dave, man? How are you? Just curious, with this little fire sale the Browns are seeing going through. They traded two players. I mean, Flacco, not a big deal, but then you trade Newsom, and then they keep talking about maybe Njoku or maybe Wyatt Teller or whatever. But why are they doing this? Is it because they show some promise and they don't want to win, so they see Jacksonville winning and they realize that first-round pick's not going to be as low as they thought? Or what's going on? Are they just trying to ensure themselves a number one pick? Like, what kind of message are you sending to the fans right here? You tell us you're not rebuilding, but all signs point to you're trading away some of your best players, and now you're talking about some of your other best players you want to trade away. Like, what's going on, man? I want to hear your thoughts. Go Browns.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Let's welcome in Jake Burns from BrownsFilmBreakdown.com. I don't think it's a fire sale, Jake. I think, and you and I had talked a little bit before we taped this, Greg's playing well, and Greg's going to make some money, and I think there's some cost certainty with Campbell, and they didn't think the difference between Newsom and Campbell was drastic.
Yeah, I think that's it to an extent. Anytime a guy is coming up on the end of his fifth-year deal, he can obviously test the market, or you can tag him. The cornerback franchise tag, something in the world of $20 million a year. So, you're looking at. I don't think the cap is hindering them from the idea of, like, if they wanted Greg Newsom to still be around, they could find a way to do it. I think it's just largely looking at the security of whether he's going to be here or he's going to choose to go somewhere else, and then obviously figuring in the tag number. Like, they don't want to pay him $20 million because I don't think he's a $20 million football player. I don't even know that he's a $15 million football player, but he's in the open market, probably going to demand something like that. And it's not really about what your your performance is. It's what your bargaining chip is, like what your competition tells you you're worth, right? You set the market and they tell you whether you're worth that kind of money. So I just where I'm at with that trade is I think the Browns view the players as different players, but obviously something that can work for them in terms of, like, Tyson's a bigger body. He's got a different sort of frame to him, but can also play press man and not be asked to do as many demanding things in zone coverage as Jacksonville was. Whereas I do think Gray can do a little bit of both. He's obviously not as physical. He's not as willing a tackler. I think there are times where some of his lateral speed gives him issues, but he's a good player. He's a good man corner. He also can play zone because that's what his college years dictated for him. And, like, I certainly see value in both guys. I would probably say Greg is having a little better year this year, but there's no doubt Tyson had better years previously. Obviously, as Greg's an outside corner who was playing inside. So I view it as a pretty similar player profile between the two. And then it's just about financial security into the future. Like, we all know the Browns have a significant amount of offensive line situations they need to solve next offseason. The quarterback is looming. There's probably room to make for a wide receiver that is of some sort of significant value. So there's just a lot there to address offensively. And they're like, well, let's keep everything buttoned up as best we can defensively through next season. And when you look at how much money the Jags had already paid out to Campbell for his contract, it's not hard to understand that the Browns fiscally are not on the hook for a ton. His contract really only demands the 26th season, and it doesn't demand a ton of money. Like, Greg was still due $10 million for this year, whereas Tyson's I think he's only owed like $2 million for this year. So when you roll that $8 million into the future, and then you look at the difference between 2 years of Campbell at like $15 million versus Greg $10 more million this year, and then whatever he would demand in the future, it's not hard to see why they arrive at a place where we see these guys at least as similar enough players production-wise, and then you get some security at a position. You don't want to have to go into an offseason having to address everything. So trying to find some solid ground to stand on there, I think, is the world in which they tried to make that deal. And the Jags, like, Campbell's obviously a fine player, and they like him. It's just that he was a previous regime extension. So you get a new GM, a new head coach, and new DC, and they might prefer somebody who plays the game a little differently. It's not that he's a cast-off. It's just that from their perspective, they like him enough that they weren't going to give him away for nothing. But if they could get a corner they thought fit their process a bit more, even if it carries the risk that Newsom could leave at the end of the year, they were willing to take that risk because of the fit for what they want to do and the contract's value in the future for them versus, again, a guy that they don't have that connection to and somebody they didn't make that decision on. So it's not hard to see where they arrive there, but it's also not hard to see where the Browns do. And I actually think it's a decent likelihood that this works out for both teams.